luxuries. Despite this, my parents instilled in my brother and I the core values of duty and service. They always told us, take what you need, live comfortably, of course, but that which you have in excess, be generous with. It is in fact those who have the least who often give the most. Generosity can have various forms, whether it be in the shape of material goods, time, expertise, mentorship, the possibilities are endless. My parents encouraged my brother and I to acknowledge the privileges that we had and to be involved in our community by helping others in the best way we could. They led by example, and they still do, be it by helping new immigrant families to integrate. I can't tell you how many pictures I get from my mom of her new grandchildren freshly welcomed into our inner circle. By running errands for elderly relatives, or simply by dropping off a meal to a friend going through a tough time. Service was never a chore to us, but rather part of our DNA. It simply just was our way of giving back in thanks for all the help that had been received in our lives and those of our ancestors. Along the way, I experienced firsthand the power that individuals can have in the lives of others. I've had exceptional educators who went far above and beyond their duties to make sure that I would not only succeed and flourish, but that I would be encouraged to follow the career of my dreams in aerospace engineering, despite all the other obstacles that were in the way. There were friends and their families that made me feel welcomed and loved when I was suffering from bullying and racism. There have also been countless mentors and colleagues who have helped me prepare for interviews and presentations, who encouraged me to apply for positions I didn't think I deserved, or who listened when I was struggling as one of the very few women in my field. All these people, each individual, through their acts of kindness, led me to where I am today. Maintenant que j'ai tracé ma propre destinée, je choisis consciemment chaque jour de prendre le temps de redonner à la communauté qui m'entoure en partageant les dons qui ont été nourris en moi par d'autres. Je reconnais que l'avenir peut seulement être construit par nous tous, en travaillant ensemble, en s'entraidant, en partageant. Ce concept de service et de communauté n'est pas unique à ma famille. C'en est un qui est partagé à travers le Canada et le Commonwealth. C'est une valeur qui nous définit en tant que peuple. Alors aujourd'hui, je vous invite à prendre un moment pour reconnaître la communauté qui a contribué à vous élever et au chemin que vous avez parcouru pour être ici. Je vous encourage à faire preuve d'empathie envers ceux qui vous entourent et à prendre une petite pause dans votre vie bien remplie pour donner un coup de main à une personne que vous n'auriez peut-être pas normalement pris le temps d'aider. L'impact que vous pourriez avoir est sans doute plus grand que vous ne pouvez l'imaginer. Qui sait, peut-être qu'un jour, vous recevrez le plus beau des cadeaux en retour, un message ou une note qui commence par « Grâce au temps que vous avez pris pour m'aider, j'ai pu moi aussi réaliser mon rêve. » Merci.
Thank you, Farah, for those inspiring words. I would like to now invite singer-songwriter Florence K. to interpret her song Vol de Nuit, which celebrates new beginnings and expresses a heartfelt hope for a brighter future.
Lorsque qui scintillera viendra du nord, tel un vol de nuit, tel un vol de nuit, tel un vol de nuit.
Merci Florence pour cette magnifique prestation. C'est maintenant un plaisir d'accueillir l'auteure, artiste de la scène et poète Sabrina Benhaim, qui récitera un poème qu'elle a composé pour marquer cette occasion. Intitulé « To a Dreamer in a Modern World », cette œuvre est une ode à l'environnement.
You see a harvest of rainwater, rivers fed into lakes, feeding to the animals like us, eating what comes from the soil washed clean. A backyard garden abundant, corn, garlic, and tomato, sweet potato, asparagus. You see a pot run wild with parsley, another wild with mint, a bed of primrose, a healthy buzz of bees, tree trunk, to bird's nest in branch, to blossom, to fruit, fallen or plucked, compost or collected and sold for a fair price at the market where you will buy it and bring it home for dessert, served on your hand-carved, locally made wooden table, your glass of wine poured half full. This does not mean you don't see the sky, the plumes of pollution. You are doing what you can. You buy LED light bulbs. You drive a hybrid car. Donate clothes. Don't let the tap run while brushing your teeth. You don't turn on unnecessary lights. You bike in the spring and summer. Walk when you can, when the forecast doesn't call for rain. You understand we are also solar powered. There is an intricate chain holding everything here together. Sun to earth and moon to sea, sun to cloud and cloud to rain to plant, and plant to animal to animal to animal, to human to plant, to human to animal, to human to human. We are all equal part of this planet. You are ocean. Ocean is preserved rainforest, is untapped oil reserve, is coal mine. You are mountain, you are seabed, and the green grass is the cow. And the cow is healthy, grazing in peace under a setting sun. You are a rising sun. You are a dreamer in a modern world. I showed you a cloud and you saw the future. Growth, a coronation of possibility. You reach up and you bring down my hand, hold it in yours, and begin to walk with me, beside me. You say, come on, together, let's leave this place better than we found it.
Merci beaucoup, Sabrina.
I would now like to invite the Minister of Public Services and Procurement, the Honourable Helena Jacek, and Mary LeMay, President and CEO of the Royal Canadian Mint, to come to the stage for the first of several special unveilings marking the coronation of the new monarch and the change of reign.
La monnaie royale canadienne joue depuis longtemps un rôle central dans la célébration des traditions royales du Canada. Depuis le tout premier dollar commémoratif émis en 1935 pour célébrer le jubilé d'argent du roi George V, jusqu'aux mariages royaux et au jubilé de la reine Élisabeth II, la famille royale a fait l'objet de plusieurs pièces de collection, les plus populaires et les plus historiques de la monnaie royale canadienne. La monnaie lance aujourd'hui sa collection de pièces, le couronnement de Sa Majesté le roi Charles III, qui comprend 2 pièces en argent et 2 pièces en or. Le monogramme royal de Sa Majesté orne chaque pièce de cette collection. J'invite maintenant la ministre Jacek et Marie Lemay à dévoiler une de ces pièces en argent.
Additionally, the government has announced today that the Royal Canadian Mint will design and place an effigy of His Majesty King Charles III on Canadian circulation coins. An effigy of the reigning monarch has appeared on Canadian coins since the Mint first started production of coins in 1908. Thank you, Ms. Lemay. I would now like to invite Minister Jazik to come to the podium and Joanne Polak, Senior Vice President, Corporate and Employee Communications at Canada Post, to come to the stage for another special unveiling.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel and Don. And I'd also like to thank all of the artists for their wonderful performances. Bonjour à tous, distinguished guests. On behalf of the Government of Canada and as the Minister responsible for Canada Post, it's a pleasure to be here today and to unveil the first Canadian stamp featuring His Majesty King Charles III. The coronation of a new monarch is a momentous occasion for Canadians and people throughout the Commonwealth, and it's only fitting that it be celebrated on a Canadian stamp, continuing a long-standing tradition. For more than 170 years, Canada Post has been issuing stamps depicting the Canadian sovereign. Cette tradition, qui remonte à 1851, avant la Confédération, a débuté avec l'émission d'une vignette consacrée à la reine Victoria. Le timbre présente un portrait de Sa Majesté, qui était alors le prince de Galles. La photo a été prise par le photographe Alan Shawcross et le timbre a été conçu par l'entreprise de design graphique montréalaise Paprika. The final image and stamp were chosen following an extensive review and selection process involving an independent stamp advisory committee. The committee guided the designers on the selection of images and creation of the stamp and the official first day cover collectible envelope. The new stamp is a wonderful way to commemorate the historic moment in Canadian history. Before we unveil the stamp, I want to share a quote from His Majesty during the 1996 Royal Tour, one of the many trips he's made to Canada over the last 50-plus years. It's a quote that is included on the back of the stamp booklet and official first day cover. Every time I come to Canada, a little more of Canada seeps into my bloodstream, and from there, straight to the heart. And with that, let's now unveil the stamp. J'invite maintenant mon collègue, l'honorable Bill Blair, président du Conseil privé du roi pour le Canada et ministre de la Protection civile, et Sami Khalid, héros d'armes du Canada, à se joindre pour les dévoilements. Actually, oui, Bill Blair.
Bon matin, tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. Today is a momentous day for Canada as we celebrate the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III. And before I begin, I'd like to thank Albert Dumont and the Eagle Singers for being with us here today and for welcoming us so warmly on the traditional territory. The Crown of Canada is part of our national identity. It is a fundamental element of our system of government, and it contributes to a sense of unity and pride among all Canadians. It is also in constant evolution, and today marks the beginning of a new chapter in Canadian history. King Charles has a long and fruitful relationship with our country. Some Canadians will remember the first time that he came to Canada as a young man in 1970 to mark the centennial of the creation of the Northwest Territories and Manitoba's entry into Confederation. And since then, King Charles has been to Canada 18 times. He has visited every province and every territory. And on his most recent tour with the Queen Consort in 2022, King Charles met with entrepreneurs in Newfoundland and Labrador. He visited Deta, a Dene Nation, First Nation in the Northwest Territories, to discuss the impact of climate change in our northern communities. And he spoke to students, parents, and teachers about the importance of literacy at an elementary school in Vanier, right here in Ottawa. The King shares many of the values that we hold dear as Canadians. He believes in the importance of giving back to our communities, empowering youth to reach their full potential, protecting the environment, championing the arts, and supporting members of the Canadian Armed Forces, as well as celebrating our diversity. Today is a chance for Canadians from coast to coast to coast to come together in their communities to celebrate these shared values. And as the King himself has said, it is a day to look to the future, to see how we can keep working together to build a better Canada, a better Commonwealth, and a better world. Our royal symbols must be inclusive to unite us as Canadians, and they must also be unique to distinguish us in the world. One of the strengths of our constitutional monarchy is its ability to adapt. We have come a long way since 1867, and our symbols have changed to reflect this development. For example, in 1921, King George V gave us our coat of arms, and in 1965, Queen Elizabeth II proclaimed our national flag. King Charles has continued this long tradition, and he has approved new Canadian symbols. The Sovereign's flag, designed by the Canadian Heraldic Authority, is a banner of the Royal Arms of Canada. It is a rectangular representation of the coat of arms of Canada, featuring maple leafs and royal emblems of the United Kingdom and France. The flag emphasizes the Royal Arms of Canada, and they are also the arms of the Monarch of Canada, and will serve all future sovereigns. This distinguishing flag will be used to indicate the King's presence in Canada. It is now my great pleasure to invite Dr. Sami Khalid, the Chief Herald of Canada, as well as Donald Booth, Canada's Secretary to the King, to unveil the King's new flag. Gentlemen. The King has also approved a new Canadian crown, which is designed by the Canadian Heraldic Authority and that represents the symbols of our past, our present, and our future. The new design incorporates uniquely Canadian elements, including stylized maple leaves and a wavy blue line representing our lands and our waterways. It also includes a nod to Indigenous teachings about the importance of and connection to water and the land. And most importantly, for the first time in our history, it is uniquely Canadian. I would now invite Dr. Khalid and Mr. Booth to unveil the Canadian Royal Crown. Excellent. By renewing emblems like the flag and the Royal Crown, we are marking the next step in His Majesty's long and committed relationship with Canada. We are affirming our Canadian identity and sovereignty in the framework of this time-honored tradition. These new emblems are stable and perpetual symbols of the Canadian monarchy in Canada. From today, they will represent Canada into the future. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Khalid and Mr. Booth, and it's my great honor to invite my colleague, Dominic LeBlanc, Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs, to the stage.
Excellences, Messieurs les présidents du Sénat et de la Chambre des communes, ministers, senators, my colleagues in the House of Commons, distingués invités, distinguished guests. C'est un plaisir d'être parmi vous ce matin, en ce jour du couronnement de notre souverain, Sa Majesté le roi Charles III. Merci à mon collègue, le ministre Blair, et le Dr Khalid pour ces dévoilements soulignant un changement de règne et, par le fait même, le couronnement de notre nouveau monarque. Canada has a long and rich relationship with the Crown. From our beginnings as a French colony to today, the monarchy has been an integral part of our institutions and our identity. The coronation of a sovereign is a high watermark in that relationship. It's an occasion we had not witnessed since 1953, when our country was still emerging from the Second World War and when we were coming to terms as a country into our own as a country in terms of a nation of equals. It would be more than 30 years before Canada achieved full independence from the United Kingdom with the repatriation of Canada's Constitution. Millions of Canadians are witnessing the coronation of Canada's sovereign for the first time in a country that is radically different from the one that witnessed the last coronation. But as Canada evolves, so do its institutions, and so does the monarchy. Today, we will witness an event steeped in the traditions dating back to the Middle Ages. But tradition is not an impediment to modernity. By looking to the past, we can better understand our present and witness how we have progressed as a nation. It enables us to look to the future with optimism. Tradition grounds us, offers us a sense of belonging. That is what the Crown embodies: stability and reassurance. La Couronne a également une longue tradition de service dans nos forces armées, dans nos communautés, auprès des plus vulnérables. De nombreux gouverneurs généraux ont également fait du service l'un des principes fondamentaux de leur mandat. Sa Majesté lui-même, lorsqu'il était prince de Galles, a piloté The Prince's Trust, une organisation caritative qui œuvre auprès des jeunes issus de milieux défavorisés et fait la promotion de l'entrepreneuriat chez les anciens combattants. Par l'entremise de distinctions telles que l'Ordre du Canada, la médaille du souverain pour les bénévoles et les médailles du Jubilé, la couronne souligne les contributions des Canadiens qui ont servi leur pays de façon extraordinaire. Ces médailles commémoratives ont souvent été créées à l'occasion de fêtes nationales et royales, une tradition qui remonte à la Confédération. En l'honneur du couronnement de Sa Majesté le roi Charles III, le gouvernement du Canada décernera donc 30 000 médailles du couronnement à des Canadiens qui ont apporté une contribution importante à notre pays, à une province, à un territoire, à une région ou à une collectivité, ou qui ont accompli à l'étranger une œuvre qui fait l'honneur au Canada. The merit-based, non-partisan nature of Canada's honors make them a model for the world. Many of the world's most successful democracies are constitutional monarchies, and Canada is a prime example of that. From a relatively obscure dominion of a few million people to one of the world's largest economies in just over 150 years, Canada's path has indeed been remarkable. If we are here today, it is because of our institutions, including the Crown, institutions that are stronger. As Canadians and people around the Commonwealth gather to celebrate the coronation of King Charles III, let us be inspired by the values of service embodied by the Crown. Et il me fait maintenant énormément plaisir d'inviter sur scène ma collègue Goody Hutchins, ministre du Développement économique rural, afin de présenter la prochaine performance musicale. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Minister Leblanc. Bonjour à tous, distinguished guests. What a pleasure it is to be here today. And last year in St. John's, I was so honored to welcome His Majesty and the Queen Consort as they began their royal tour in honor of Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. It was an exciting day for Canadians and especially for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador as we celebrated and showcased the many facets of our province's colorful, vibrant, and deep-rooted cultures and traditions. So once again, offering a glimpse into this lifestyle, it's my pleasure to introduce In Echo,